All right, I saved what I hope is the easiest for last. It's gonna be our lowest priority groups, and they're only gonna have prefixes with them. There's no suffixes. They're always gonna be at the very front, our lowest priority groups. Those are gonna be our halogens, so fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. Our ethers. Okay, ethers are going to be included here. Those can be just a little bit tricky, more unlikely to show up than these others, but we're still going to cover them just very briefly. And then our nitro groups. And I didn't even write that down. So these are going to have their own. We should know them: fluoro, chloro, bromo, iodo. Our alkoxy groups are going to depend on how long our carbon chain is, as we'll get to here. And then these are just going to be nitro. And again, they're all prefixes, so, and so on. They're all going to come at the front, lowest priority. Make sure to designate something. If there's something else of higher priority, make that carbon number 1 or lowest as possible, and then worry about these other ones. First example here, I have a carbon chain, I have a ring structure, which we should see our root should be cyclohexane. I have 3 functional groups, all of which are on this low priority list. So they're not one's gonna necessarily be our carbon number 1. We can say certainly right at the start. What we should do is try and number them to have the lowest numbers total. We can't really do that here because no matter where we start, we're going to have the same numbers anyway. Either 1, 3, and 5, 1, 3, and 5, or 1, 3, and 5, or you can go the reverse direction. They're always going to be like that. So with this tiebreaker, then you can just go into alphabetical. Make whatever is alphabetically lowest the number 1. So let's name these substituent groups. Here we have a bromo prefix. Down here we have a chloro prefix. And what about this one here? What will we call this one? Well, our prefix is going to be alkoxy. The alkyl part means whatever our carbon chain is. So we have 2 carbons here, an ethyl group. Alkoxy, ethyl group, what would we call that? It would be ethoxy group. Okay? So alkoxy is saying it can be methoxy, ethoxy, propoxy, propoxy. Yeah, it sounds funky. Probably not going to get into that long of a chain anyway. But usually either a methoxy or ethoxy group. In this case, I have an ethoxy group. So ethoxy group there. And that constitutes by oxygen, that contains oxygen and the 2 carbons with it. All right, so now I should number the carbons. I decide I can't do it in a way where I get the lowest number possible. It's going to be the same either way, 1 through 5, no matter how I do it. So instead, I'm going to give the alphabetical order and combine alphabetical order with the numbering. So bromo, B comes first. We'll say that is number 1. C comes before E, so I'll say this is number 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We said the root was cyclohexanol. I don't know why I said all. There's no alcohol in it. Cyclohexane. And all of these are going to be prefixes. The first one being 1 bromo. Then I have 3 chloro. And lastly, 5 ethoxy. One bromo, 3 chloro, 5 ethoxy cyclohexane. There we go. Is that going to be in the ACS? Probably not. That's pretty long. But how might that be presented on the ACS if it did show up? What they would likely do, they would change these numbers around for one wrong answer. They would probably change the alphabetical order for another one, and we should recognize that. They would maybe call this, maybe try and treat this maybe as like an ester and do something like an ethanoate group somehow. That would be incorrect. And then they would provide us with the correct answer right here. So it's just as good. Again, you don't necessarily need to be an expert and be able to name. It's not fill in the blank naming. It's multiple choice. So you don't need to be getting these all the way, just most of the way. Let's try another group here, or another molecule here. I see my carbon chain, 3 substituents on it. I see that I have a prefix group and a prefix group here, no priority associated with them, but I do have an alcohol group. Alcohols were in the intermediate, they're going to be highest priority. In this case, we need to make sure, prioritize it. It has the lowest number possible, so I'm going to number this right to left. Even though by doing that, I get higher numbers total, I have a priority group existent, so I need to make sure that that is lowest number. I'll say that one more time. If I were to, because I have alcohol as my priority group, I need to make sure it's the lowest number possible. Even if that means that the total numbers that I use in my molecule are higher than if I were to just go left to right. I need to make sure because alcohol is priority group. That's where the numbers come in. So that would likely be an incorrect answer on the ACS. They might call this 2-nitro, 3-chloro, for example. My root here is 6 carbons, so that should be hexane. I said I have a functional group here with an alcohol. Okay, so it's probably not going to stay hexane, it should be hexanol. We'll get there. I'll do the prefixes. I have a nitro and a chloro. Which one should come first and why? Chloro group should come first because C comes before N. So 4C, or 4-chloro, 5-nitro, all one word, 4-chloro, 5-nitro, and then I have my alcohol. Because it's a priority group, because it's the highest priority group, that's going to be my suffix, hexanol. And in what position is our alcohol? Position 2, 5-nitro, 2-hexanol. The 2 designating the alcohol in the 2 position, and that looks okay. So I numbered right to left to make sure our alcohol had the lowest number possible. Whatever happens after that, doesn't matter. I put chloro before nitro because of alphabetical order. And I designated my alcohol before I got to the root and suffix with the number 2. I could also call this 4-chloro, 5-nitrohexane 2-all. Perfectly acceptable. Maybe you do it that way. If that works for you, that's fine. But we should know that those are going to be the same. So I could write this, and this goes for a lot of functional groups. 4-chloro, 5-nitrohexane 2-all. Same thing. We'll do one more example. I have 3 substituents, 3 functional groups. Which one should get highest priority? Ketone, halogen, or alcohol? Our ketone should get highest priority. So I got to make sure it has the lowest number possible in our chain. So I'm not going to go left to right. I'm going to go right to left. Whatever happens after I prioritize that highest priority group, doesn't matter. So I made sure ketone had the lowest number it could. That's going to turn our alcohol into a hydroxy group, a hydroxy prefix, and we have a bromine prefix. So bromo or hydroxy, B comes before H. So I should have 3 bromo, 5 hydroxy, and then 2 position, 2, my root, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2 hexanone, because I'm dealing with a ketone. Ketone is highest priority, so it's at the end of the word. If it wasn't highest priority, I'd make it an oxo group at the beginning. But because it's highest priority, we're going to find it in the suffix. I have my prefix substituents at the beginning, and we said ketone was in the 2 spot. How else could I name this? 3 bromo, 5 hydroxy, hexane 2-one. So I can put the 2 either before the root, it's listed here and there, or even after the root, so long as it's designating that highest priority group, doesn't matter. ACS might call this, they might call this 4 bromo, 2 hydroxy, 5 hexanone, so they get the numbers wrong. They might call this an oxo group, a substituent, which would be wrong, so maybe they don't do the prioritization right. Or maybe they call this an alcohol group and put all at the end instead of hydroxy, so another prioritization problem. Maybe they count the carbons wrong. They do that sometimes too. So again, don't have to really have this down all the way. Being familiar with it should help for those just really 5 or 6 questions that are probably going to show up. That should do it. SI, final week. Kind of final week. Your assessment is on Wednesday, so we'll be doing polymers Monday and Tuesday to prepare for that assessment if you guys plan on taking it. And that means that Wednesday and Thursday will be ACS. If I even have essay again Thursday. Thursdays have been kind of screwy lately. But plan on Wednesday at least, probably Thursday. Actually, probably not Thursday. I might send an announcement, no SI Thursday. And then, most importantly, a week from Monday, May 4th, starting I hope at 6 p.m. somewhere up here, we'll do an ACS cram study night. Now it'll be like this for hours. Lots of fun. So hopefully see you there, see you at SI, and see you in class on Monday.